Mafia 3 is the most elaborate case of bait and switch I have ever experienced. Ambitious idea, sloppy execution, top-of-the-line performance, scattered pacing, interesting mechanic, shallow implementation, beautiful, detailed world with not much to do, fun gameplay, yet overstays its welcome. I could go on and on and on, but the point is, it is very difficult to decide whether to love or hate this game. At first, the initial 3 hours were so captivating. You're being introduced into this vast, beautiful world with interesting characters, fun set pieces, varieties in gameplay mechanics. And then, after 5 hours or so, you start to realize, this looks like... Oh no. Nah.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
This is such a classic and ultimate Ubisoft 101 open world design. The mechanics are being stretched so thin to the point where what you are doing in the first 5 hours is what you will do for the next 40 hours. Now listen, I understand that almost all open world games are guilty of this to an extent, even the great ones. But this is way too much of a slog, man. I initially want to call it off and skip this one, but we have come this far. What is a man if he can't finish what he set out to do? Might as well go balls to the wall. So before we start, we gotta check if the game runs at all. Luckily, unlike the first 2 games, this one doesn't need much fixing on PC. I initially faced black screen whenever I launched the game, but I just have to enable disable full screen optimization and the game is good to go. So what's this game about anyway? Despite all the complaints earlier, I love how unapologetic this game is. You know that in media, games, and history, these mafia organizations are portrayed as sort of untouchable. You mess with them and you're done for type of deal. Now, what this game does is basically posing that one timeless question. What if we throw an unstoppable force towards a seemingly immovable object? It is both hilarious and extremely entertaining to see it unfolds.
Alright then, who's hiding them?
Okay, I'll tell you. Do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man!
Yes, I know the Muffin Man. Who lives on Drury Lane?
Well, she's married to the Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man!
She's married to the Muffin Man.
So you play as Lincoln Clay, a 6'4" buff absolute unit of a man, part of Special Operation Group in Vietnam War. He is extremely capable and well experienced in close quarter combat and stealth infiltration. He was also specifically trained in psychological warfare, basically a top-of-the-line one-man army. Now the game is set within New Bordeaux in 1968, a fictional city loosely based on New Orleans. It is a beautiful setting with a lot of diversity in district, building, architecture and characters. To complement the beauty, absolute banger of music selection and testosterone-filled car engine will accompany you throughout your journey. The catch is, you play as a black guy during the height of racism.
This shop's whites only, boy.
And this game holds no punches when it comes to faithfully depicting it. To start off, Lincoln just came home from war, welcomed by his brother from another mother, Alice. Alice took Lincoln home to greet him with a welcome home party. There, we are being introduced to Sammy and Father James. Sammy is kind of a father figure to Lincoln, took him in when he has no one. He runs a bar as his business to keep the family afloat. And then we have Father James. Father James is sort of a spiritual advisor and life mentor to Lincoln. Not long after his arrival, Lincoln quickly realized that Sammy is in a deep trouble. There is a Haitian gang that threatens the welfare of their community. Without much thought or hesitation, Lincoln heads straight to their base and finished their leader, clean and simple. After killing the leader, he meets Cassandra, a captive that had been held there by the leader. Coming back home, Lincoln was like, problem solved, no more worries. But Sammy doesn't seem to be relieved in the slightest. Turns out, that's not the real problem. The real thing is that they're in a heavy debt with Sal Marcano. Basically, Sal is the don who runs the whole city. Sammy said that Sal and him go way back, sure, but that doesn't make it any less of a problem. To square things, Sal invited Lincoln to his place. There, we meet how do you spell it? Georgie Marcano, Sal's son, and which is our longtime friend. And also our boy Vito, yo. He ages like shit, but then again, all those drinking, smoking, and stress definitely take a toll. So yeah, understandable. Sal hates Vito because the commission sent him to be some kind of internal affair, I guess. I don't really understand, but yeah. Now Sal asks Lincoln to be a part of his heist plan. Sal promises that after the heist, Sammy will be more than square with him. Lincoln agreed. But then, Sal asked one more question. He wants Lincoln to take over Sammy's place and rule that part of the city. Naturally, Lincoln refused. That doesn't sit right with Sal, but he seems to understand anyway. The heist is a four-man job, so we have Lincoln, Georgie, and Alice as our crew. One last crew that we need is Danny Burke, son of Thomas Burke. Danny is a nobody, but Thomas Burke is the former leader of Irish mob in New Bordeaux. He built his illegal bootlegging career from scratch and conquered Point Verdun and all the rackets in it. Due to his power and influence, Sal Marcano makes Thomas Burke to work under him as his associate. A couple years back, his business has a falling out. Marcano forces himself in and take over Burke's dynasty and appointed someone else as the leader. Since then, Thomas Burke sort of became a nobody. To make up for his mistake, Thomas appointed his son, Danny, to join the heist, in hope that, if the heist successful, Sal will return the district to him. Long story short, the heist went well, everyone gets their cut, Sammy repays his debt to Sal, everyone's happy. All is well.
Fill me up. You know something, Lincoln? You're possibly the baddest motherfucker I ever laid my eyes on. She shouldn't have said no.
Holy shit, out of fucking nowhere they started blasting, man. What a way to start the game. What a way. Lincoln was shot on the head, point blank on the damn head. You could say that it's a video game, but you'd be surprised that human body is as fragile as it is durable. Like it or not, this intro is probably the main reason why so many people, including me, manages to stuck through the game. This is one of the most emotionally charged, rage-filled opening in a video game. You could feel the rage and betrayal in Lincoln's eye. While the bar is burning down, Father James barged in to save Lincoln, who miraculously survived. During recovery, Lincoln asked Father James to call John Donovan, his trusty war buddy. Donovan is a loyal, base, and an absolute jackass of a CIA agent. His energy worked so well with Lincoln, it's always a treat to see him on screen. The moment Lincoln recovers, without a second thought, Donovan was all like, "Those Marcano are a bunch of pricks, I say we should fuck them up." For the rest of the game, Donovan functions as an informant who oversees Lincoln's plan and action. He's like Alfred to Batman. And that is pretty much how the game starts. To execute revenge plan, simply killing Marcano isn't enough. Lincoln wants Marcano to know how it feels to lose everything. So, Lincoln and Donovan came up with a plan to conquer New Bordeaux, district by district, until there is nothing left for Marcano. To execute this plan, Lincoln's going to need help. Naturally, those help comes from the people that the Marcano has fucked over. This time around, Mafia 3 uses Fusion Engine. It is a modified version of the Illusion Engine that was being used for Mafia 2. So what does that translate to? It means that now we have dynamic time cycle, stunning volumetric lighting, expansive open world with seamless access between exterior and interior, physics that doesn't rely on Nvidia's nonsense, and most importantly, beautifully rendered real-time cutscene with one of the most impressive motion capture performance. So if it's really that good, then why were there so many complaints? It's because the release version was absolute dog shit. I remember trying out the 7.6 version back at release and I thought to myself,
what the fuck is this piece of shit?
Now, after the definitive edition, which is not saying much because it's still the same game, it's quite playable, provided that you're not actively looking to break the game or simply enjoy the ride. There are some nitpicks here and there, but overall it's alright. One of the things that struck out to me is how they present the story. It is interesting that they chose this documentary style of storytelling in a video game format. In the present day, which was 2016, damn, I'm old. A documentary is being held to capture multiple perspectives on several involved characters, about what they think of Lincoln Clay and the entire event of New Bordeaux takeover. We have Jonathan Maguire, a retired FBI agent who used to work on Lincoln's case. He is persistent on wanting to prove that Lincoln Clay is a criminal and should be held behind bars. And then we have Father James, who was or is Lincoln's closest person, almost like a father figure. Basically, he shows a disappointed face and tells his story of disappointment for 30 hours straight. But seriously though, he is one of the best characters in the game. You can really feel his emotions. He cares so much about Lincoln even if it hurts him. And finally, the man himself, John Donovan, who is being interviewed intensely by the committee yet looks like he owns the place, because damn right he does. The sound design is nice as usual. I like how powerful car engine sounds. The city sounds busy with traffic and people walking around. Bayou sounds as expected. Honestly, there's not much to say here. It's nice but nothing special. In classic Mafia game fashion, 1968 New Bordeaux is beautifully crafted with a lot of character and charm. We have bustling cities, docks, highways, iconic landmarks, scenery, neighborhood, poor neighborhood, bayou, swamp, outskirts, small town, and so many more. Each district has their own distinct character, purpose, and feel to it. In addition to that, you can now enter many interiors with varying degrees of detail and atmosphere. From a small shop to lavish bathhouse, modest bar to grand mall, sidewalks to park, there are so many varieties and characters built into the world. Police system returns in a hilarious fashion. Unlike before, police won't care much about basic crime like speeding, going through red light, and light crashing. But if you commit any crime, even a simple one, that the police do care, boy do I have a news for you. They will shoot you on sight, no question asked. It's usually for obvious crime like stealing and fighting, but holy shit. If there are no police present, the nearby NPC will act as a witness. You can stop them by knocking them out. Yeah, I don't think she's alive. Later on, you can also disable any telephone line or make the cops turn a blind eye for several minutes. Many people complain on how it is not as immersive as before, but personally, I am glad. This is a massive game with a lot of driving back and forth. If you can't go fast and go through red light without any problem, I will instantly drop the game, man. When it comes to interior, you can rob stores to earn money or collectible, but yeah, that's about it. Still no worthwhile side activities here. Such a shame. So, what about the music selection? Absolute banger, no further explanation needed. One last thing about the presentation that I want to mention is how they represent the spirit of 1968 New Orleans. Now, I am not American, I have never been there. The only reason I know New Orleans is because it was in Subway Surfers Halloween event, so then don't take my word for it. But the way they portray it in the game feels very believable. There are stores where colored people aren't allowed. When entering a luxurious place, people look suspicious of Lincoln. Every district and neighborhood has their own unique NPC's archetype in accordance with the population. From the way people talk on how each character has their own prejudice, I love how this game doesn't hold back when it comes to depicting that.
We got rules. Not my fucking problem that you people don't understand it.
Yeah, well, I'm about to make it your fucking problem.
What shit is this then?
Goddamn. If it ain't the city's favorite pot-licking donkey, Thomas Burke.
The fuck did you just say to me?
Put the gun down, Burke.
Unlike the previous games, now we have proper stealth. It's still very basic, mind you, but proper. You have X-ray vision, crouch button, cover takedown. Now you can whistle and throw distraction. You can lose enemies line of sight. Later on, you can unlock silence pistol and throwing knife.
Call an ambulance!
Yeah, I think that's about it. Like I said, basic. But check this out. The combat is where this game shines. Even by the usual third-person standard, the combat system is really fun to play. There are several contributing elements that I think makes the combat quite fun. First, the movement feels very smooth and responsive. Despite being a massive unit, controlling Lincoln feels tight and responsive. You have fluid transition between running, crouching, aiming, taking cover, and melee. I like how seamless it is to transition between melee attack, counter, and shoot. It is very nice. Second, the enemy has a lot of variable response to being shot. They could trip, holding pain, dying on floor. They also retaliate in various ways.
Got me pinned!
They could also move towards you or try to flank you with a grenade. Third, we have the well-designed level. You rarely feel trapped. There's almost always a path you can take to hide, run, or even flank enemies. Each stage feels creative, especially for some of the main arcades and bosses. You rarely feel infiltrating the same level, despite the monotonous gameplay loop. Finally, and the most important one I think, the weapon feedback feels great. At first I thought the shot feels too subtle or something, almost muffled like. But as I keep playing, I start to appreciate it more, simply because it doesn't grate on my ear, and the blood splatter sound when you hit an enemy. Oof, it's beautiful. I play on hard difficulty throughout the whole game, and it is quite brutal. While manageable, I would say that normal difficulty is more enjoyable for casual playthrough. Once again, the driving feels different than the previous game. In this one, on simulated driving, cars feel heavy and slippery. I didn't like it at first, but it grows on me as I get used to it. Driving Lincoln's signature Samsung feels wild and powerful. It's like trying to ride a wild beast. The engine sound alone gives me testosterone, man. You don't even need to take my word for it. Just listen. Now, remember the 3 random person I've mentioned earlier? To aid him in conquering Records and District, Lincoln makes an alliance with Cassandra, Vito Scaletta, and Thomas Burke. They function as underboss who take control of the district that Lincoln took over. In exchange, they'll provide Lincoln with services and allies to aid him in his quest of revenge. To take control a district, you need to take over smaller records. There are 2 records in each district, and once you have taken over the records, you can move on to the lieutenant or capo in the Marcano family. There are 9 conquerable districts in total. The first 3 are tutorial districts to initiate alliance with underbosses. The next 3 districts are to lure out Marcano's lieutenants. And the last 3 districts are to lure out Marcano's capo and alliance. You can choose which underboss to control each records and district. In exchange, you will receive different perks in accordance with the underboss specialty. It is very important to assign the same records within the same district to a single underboss. If you ignore one of the bosses or commit too much to a single one, they will eventually lose their loyalty and betray you. But if you divide the district fair and square, you will miss out on some special perk on later upgrades. It's a fair trade-off, makes you think which underboss to prioritize. Personally, I spread the district fair, 3 districts for each underboss, because I like seeing all of them happy. But to be honest, I find Cassandra to be quite insufferable. During table meeting, Burke was like, "Is best," while Vito provides you with reason and more importantly,
Make the right choice here and I'll whip up some fresh bucatini for you.
Calling this one for Scaletta.
That's what I'm fucking talking about.
Now, let's see what this whiny ass bitch has to say.
Your decision. Listen here. You put my men on the front line and locking down the act.
And I swear, man, it's not just me. Listen to what Lincoln has to say here.
How it can change a man's focus.
See, that right there is the biggest problem we have. Every time you and I start discussing business, you start up about how the world works, about the trials and tribulation of colored folk. And you do it as if I have no idea, as if I just woke up this morning and found myself a man of color.
Bada bop boom pow.
When it comes to the DLC, there are 3 main expansions for the game. All of them are well made and quite fun to play. But honestly, most of them don't really add much to the main story, which is fine on its own, but the problem is that if you play this halfway through the game or later on, you will feel kind of burnt out by the end of it. It is because most of them utilize the same formula as the main game. There are some twists and variation, but it always boils down to shooting by the end of most encounter. The first DLC is Faster Baby. You get a new small town with a racist cop that needed to be taken out. The gameplay is basically a distraction nearby. You get to make a mess out of the city with your friend's car. You get to manage a wheat farm also, which I couldn't care enough to engage with, but it's cool I guess. Also, Lincoln's getting late, man. The second DLC is Sign of the Times. This is the most important DLC. You'd want to finish this as soon as you unlock this one. So how it goes is basically you meet a red flag girl, she was brainwashed in a cult, you take down the cult, and there are some horror and hallucination stuff, but enough about it. What is important is that you get a new weapon type, a throwing knife. This is the best stealth weapon you can get. It's almost always one-shot kill, especially to the head. You can aim and throw it without getting out of cover. The range is insane and the accuracy is perfect, and the best thing, you can pick it up from enemy after throwing it. After you finish with the DLC, Aunt Lily arrives in New Bordeaux. She offers Lincoln help in restoring Sammy's bar. Personally, I think this is the single best addition of all the DLCs. At first, you can fix the burned down bar and restore it to function, but as you keep upgrading, you can add interesting stuff, making it better each time. It is a linear progression without any modular customization, but it's still a very nice addition. This truly makes Sammy's bar feel like a very comfortable home and a place to hang out by the time you've done all the upgrades. The third and final DLC is Stones Unturned. Donovan has an unfinished business with someone back in his Vietnam days, so he aims to finish it. You get a sniper call as a part of your equipable and also a nice new island. The gameplay is basically the same old, but I feel it's much harder than the main game. The rest is not much to write home about. So far everything sounds good, right? So what is the problem? The problem is that they stretched a 5 hours mechanic to more than 30 hours, even ranking up to 40 with the DLCs. I would say that if they utilize the budget right by making the contents tighter, words smaller yet denser, focus on delivering quality and curated mission like the predecessor, polishing the mechanics and visual, this could be one of, if not the best in the series. By the amount of quality and contents that present, it is obvious that they have the budget and ambition to execute this right. My personal gripe with this game is that why does everything have to end in a big shootout? Big shootout is good for a few select moments, but it should be fun, special, and well thought out. Listen here, video game. Not everything has to boil down in a big bombastic shootout. Tight story moment and unique gameplay section could serve as a climax if done well. If you make everything ends up in a massive shootout, it becomes stale very fast. As in the tradition, another day another wasted potential of a Mafia game. Even making this video left me with a burnout feeling. I guess I'll end this here. Thank you for watching. You can like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. If you don't, then yeah.